the 10 largest aircraft in the world. One needs 28 wheels and 6 engines to take off. The number 1 is comparable to an aerial aircraft carrier. 10th, Airbus Beluga XL. Viral Airbus Beluga XL. Huge, hauls massive loads, with a goofy 200-ton baby face. Airbus Beluga planes mainly carry aircraft parts between Airbus's major European factories, and also take special missions like satellite transport. Airbus Beluga XL, 3rd generation. 63 meters long, 60 meters span, 19 meters tall, carry payload of 50 tons, with operational speeds reaching Mach 0.69. By size, Beluga XL is 6 meters longer and 1 meter wider than Beluga, boosting payload about 30%. Yet 30% hugely boosts Airbus efficiency. Beluga XL carries 2 Airbus A350 wings per trip, while the Beluga instead carries only 1 wing. The plane was fitted with Rolls-Royce Trent 700 engines. After its 2018 debut, Airbus in 2019 picked it to replace older planes for European parts transport. Beyond better stats, geeks love the Beluga XL's adorably goofy look. Made for today's intermodal cargo platforms, this plane uses a giant nose door, a wider fuselage hold, and a redesigned tail, so it looks strange. Before paint, it looked like an alien octopus hybrid, but Airbus staff boating swung it to a totally different style instead. Beluga XL's livery is now Smiling Beluga. Up close, black lines from the cockpit windshield make it look like a gaping mouth in profile. Beluga eyes on the fuselage make it look gentle and cute. In a sense, it went from sea to sky. Number 9. The XB-70 Valkyrie bomber. Late 1950s Cold War. North American Aviation began designing a high-altitude strategic bomber. 2 prototypes and 2 flights exceeded Mach 3 at over 21,000 meters. The famed XB-70 Goddess bomber. 56.7 meters long, 32 meters wingspan, 9.14 meters tall. Flying with other warplanes, its huge size stood out. The XB-70's wingtips stayed level subsonic, but folded down supersonic to greatly cut drag in flight. Its delta wing and fuselage design were copied by Concorde and the Soviet Tu-144. This bomber's debut clearly challenged the Soviet Union. From America, its speed, range, and penetration made it a key U.S. Cold War weapon. It has 249-ton MTOW, carries 11.34 tons, 14 nuclear bombs, and 8,000 km combat radius. Why wasn't this astonishing bomber ever mass-produced? In the 1960s, one XB-70 cost $750 million, nearly the price of building 3 Kitty Hawk carriers. Meanwhile, the US and USSR competed fiercely across fields. The real fight behind it was money, so the US couldn't pour money into XB-70 development, production. Besides, the XB-70's huge size made it easy for enemy radar to spot in flight, and it needed a wider radius during turns too. These flaws let enemies trace its flight path. Also, the serious 1966 accident during tests of XB-70 No. 2 made the US government doubt its reliability. A key reason it was ultimately abandoned entirely. 8th place. Antonov An-22. During the Cold War, the Soviet Army needed transports to airlift troops, machines, and supplies. An-22 filled that need. An-22 is named for Antaeus, Poseidon's son in Greek myth, and it also has several other nicknames. Soviet pilots called it Elephant. NATO gave it Cock Code. The An-22, built by the Soviet Antonov Bureau, is the largest turboprop transport ever, carrying troops and oversized heavy military gear, takes off and lands at remote airfields. It joined Czechoslovakia's reform crackdown and, in the Third and Fourth Middle East Wars, shipped Soviet arms to Arabs. An-22, high-wing cargo aircraft, 58 m long, 64 meters wingspan, 12.5 meters high, 33 meters cargo bay. Forebody is pressurized, seating 5 to 8 crew and up to 28 passengers. 1922 entered service as the USSR's only T-62 transport, hauling 80 tons 5,000 kilometer cargo 639 cubic meters. Set 41 world speedweight records in 1973 alone. Pilot Marina Popovich flew in 2,000 kilometers, carrying 30 to 50 tons, setting 12 total world speed records. 7th. Dreamlifter. Boeing 747-400 LCF Dreamlifter is world's longest freighter by far. Only 4 exist, among rarest cargo jets on Earth. Early 21st century. Dreamliner development revealed a major issue. Parts from Japan and Italy shipped often far too slowly, so land and sea shipping was inefficient. Boeing fixed it by flying the parts instead. These parts were too big for standard containers, even for the 747-400F and Antonov in 225. So Boeing had to design a dedicated plane for it. However, Boeing didn't build new planes. It modified 4 existing 747-400s, 1 Air China, 1 Malaysia Airlines, 2 China Airlines planes. The redesigned plane gets a bulged fuselage, like NASA's Super Guppy or Airbus Beluga cargo haulers. 747-400 LCF, 64 wingspan, 71.68 meters long, 21.54 meters tall, 8.38 meters wide. Radar are more prominent than the original. MTOW 36.4T, over 3T less than 747-400. At full load, it's only 4,200 nm. 400 version, 7,260 nm. The 747-400 LCF's key edge is its space. Hold 1,840 cubic meters. Payload 113,400 kilograms. This allows it to carry Dreamliner parts that are too large for conventional transport, helping Boeing reduce shipping times and accelerate production. 6. Boeing 747. 1960s air travel surged fast, jets shrank distances, and modern tech keeps airfares getting cheaper today. Meanwhile, rising airliner speeds sparked dreams of supersonic jets. Concorde and Tu-144 emerged, supersonic oddities. Boeing 747 chose the opposite, a giant plan. To build the then world's largest jet, Boeing built a new Everett plant, the region's biggest industrial building, spanning in all 399,480 square meters. Boeing spent $200 million to build this factory. This factory rose with Boeing 747. Before roof finished, the first 747 already took shape here. Over 30,000 employees work here now. Developing the jet was costly. Boeing built the 747 independently, with virtually no loans. Then Boeing's debt topped $2 billion, more than any companies in the entire world. From 1970 until the A380, Boeing 747 was the world's top capacity airliner for 37 years. Boeing's 747 profits let it quickly clear all debt. Even today, the jumbo shape still amazes the world over. Boeing 747-8, 76 meters long, 68.5 meters span, 20 m tall, sealed fuselage, 1 ton of air. Hold carries 3,400 suitcases. Boeing 747-8 has 6 million parts, made in 33 countries, regions, cables 240 to 280 kilometers, 240,000 L fuel, 200 tons. It has carried 5.6 billion plus passengers and flown 80 billion km. The production ended in December 2022. Coming in 5th is the Il-76. At 7,500 meters, plane with 2M hole flew 200 kilometers and landed. It sounds unbelievable, yet this really happened to an Il-76 in Afghanistan then. The Il-76, nicknamed Candid, is the world's most produced heavy transport and among the most successful designs, used past or present in over 38 countries and regions. Truly a classic in transport aircraft history. By the late 1960s, the Soviet Il-12 was short on payload and range, so they chose to develop a C-141-like heavy transport to boost airlift, carrying cargo, troops, equipment, plus aerial refueling and special missions. They ended up designing the L-76 transport aircraft, which is about 46 meters long. As a 50.5 meters wingspan, this cargo plane carries 40 tons within a 5,000-kilometer radius in under 6 hours, and can handle brutal Soviet weather, from Siberia's deep cold to Caucasus shifting turbulence. Basically, the L-76 can reach anywhere on Earth. Even without a proper runway, it can land and take off fast. Dirt roads. Even Antarctica's ice is no problem, maybe due to its rugged capability. Over 900 L-76 transports and upgrades were built, surpassing all strategic airlifters worldwide, and more than twice the combined output of America's C-5 and C-17. Fourth, Lockheed C-5 Galaxy. The C-5 Galaxy is a military transport built by Lockheed, now maintained and upgraded by Lockheed Martin. As the first superjet transport, the C-5's unique design enables worldwide heavy-lift cargo missions on demand. C-5 transports single high wing, 576.4 m2, 67.88 meters span, allows field runway use while keeping speed and range. The C-5 is 75.54 meters long and 19.85 meters high, easily carrying huge cargo loads. Cargo bay, 36 meters long, 6 meters high, 6 meters wide, dual end loading, and unloading. Also, C-5 carries 4 GE-F138GE100 turbofans, rated 191 kN each. This lets the C-5 carry 120 tons aloft, including tanks, helicopters, and other equipment. In the 1970s, C-5s excelled in many missions and still hit today's headlines. In 1973, the US flew 22,000+ tons of supplies to Israel in days, stunning the world with its strategic airlift. After that, the C-5 showed huge lift, yet also its immaturity and many flaws. At worst, single-trip payload was capped at just 23 tons. Early C-5s suffered chiefly from unreliable engines, and their advanced avionics too often had small glitches. Repeatedly, fault codes appear on takeoff, then again aloft. If they press on, crew fears bigger trouble, even a crash, but stopping means minor glitches. After landing, checks find only one relay or switch. Not only the plane failed, Lockheed itself faced trouble too. Lockheed ran C-130, C-141, and C-5 lines, covering most US transport needs. Virtually excluding others, Lockheed refused to compromise with rival aerospace giants, wouldn't abandon civilian jets, so it built the famed L-1011 TriStar. Lockheed's TriStar was a historic flop. The C-5 was America's first superproject, costing over $1 billion. That equals about $8 billion today. Lockheed was spread too thin. Operations faltered and it neared bankruptcy. If Lockheed collapsed or hit major troubles, then the C-5 would face unprecedented hurdles, never entering active service. Ultimately, the US government loaned Lockheed money, helping it survive the crisis. This shows how hard it is to build airliners and military transports. Even Lockheed, an aviation giant, couldn't manage two major programs together. Third, A380, 72 meters long, 80 meters span, 7 meters wide, greater than 24 m high, certified for 853 passengers, world's largest airliner. 4-engine double-decker Super Jumbo first flew successfully April 2005. In 2021, Airbus ended A380 production after delivering last to Emirates. Mention the Airbus A380, and you must cite the Boeing 747. Before 2007, it reigned jumbo 37 years. In part, Airbus built the A380 to prove its strength. After A320 and A330 hits, it pressed on, cementing its standing in aviation worldwide. Yet the A380, once in service, earned Airbus no profit, largely due to hub-and-spoke, high-capacity design. When Airbus set R&D plans, it predicted the transport mode would evolve. However, airlines shifted to direct point-to-point service, letting passengers reach destinations on one flight without connecting flights. A380 design keeps per-passenger mile costs low, but it's less efficient than point-to-point travel overall. Since mid-2010s, orders for 400-plus seat jets have slowed, as wide-body twins match range, burn less fuel, and give airlines flexibility with lower upfront costs today. Second, Stratolaunch twin fuselage plane. The Stratolaunch aircraft looks very different from a typical plane. A typical plane has only one fuselage, with wings on either side. Stratolaunch has two fuselages, each joined to one wing side. During World War II, this design surfaced as the US military urgently needed a heavy fighter. Yet pressure left no time to build an aircraft from scratch. Designers joined two existing plane fuselages, forming the F-82 twin fuselage fighter. Scaled composite Stratolaunch is a massive twin fuselage plane. Each body is 73 meters long, supported by 28 wheels. Its 117-meter wingspan is the world's largest ever built, wider than an American football field by a lot. Center, 4 primary composite members with 4 auxiliary supports. Carries 220 tons. Scaled composite Stratolaunch uses a twin fuselage design to leave wide space between bodies, letting it carry and release large rockets or spacecraft as an airborne launch platform. Rockets or spacecraft are air-launched by Stratolaunch, released mid-air, then ignite and fly into space. Compared to launching from the ground, this method of launching in the air offers greater flexibility. Stratolaunch can ferry rockets to remote launch sites, so flight paths now needn't avoid crowded neighborhoods anymore. At ignition, the rocket already has some speed and altitude, avoiding dense lower air drag, so for the same payload weight it uses less fuel than a ground launch. First, Antonov An-225. Remember the Doomsday escape plane from the movie 2012? Based on Antonov An-225 plane. How big is it? The world's largest cargo plane, dubbed an aviation beast, lifts up to 250 tons, about 20 loaded trucks. Its 88.4-meter wingspan is runway-like. It stands 18.1 meters tall, 84 meters long. Like a small hill? So enormous. It's no surprise it sparks a stir at any airport it visits. True to its name, An-225 began as a dream always. Then the biggest transport plane was the An-124, the USSR's top lifter. Yet it couldn't haul ultra-large parts well, so the Soviets chose to build a bigger transport plane. Antonov Design Bureau still handled development, built on original An-124. Development thus went smoothly overall. It took only about 3 years to build the first prototype at the aviation plant in Kiev. Visually, the new 225 looks almost identical to earlier 124. For years, people saw it as a bigger An-124, but the An-225 is far more than just that. Since debut, the An-225 transport set 250 world records for payload and takeoff weight, many still unbroken. Yet the USSR built only 2 such air giants. Only Plane 1 flew. Plane 2 stayed unfinished. The only finished aircraft was destroyed in the 2022 war, leaving people sighing. That's all for this video today. Of today's 10 biggest planes, which impressed you most? Tell us in the comments below. Right